Good afternoon, students. Today we will start from Ohm's law. Okay, what Ohm's law is saying? First, read the Ohm's law. According to Ohm's law, the current flowing in a conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference across the end, and the temperature of conductor. In that case, physical condition and temperature have to be remains constant. If physical condition and temperature is remain constant in a conductor, then Ohm's law is saying current flow or I is directly proportional to potential difference, means V. So I proportional to V. So V by I equal to constant, and that constant is equal to R. So I got V equal to IR, and that R is actually resistance. Thus we can say the resistance of a conductor is numerically equal to the potential difference if potential difference across its end when unit current flow through it. That means if I is 1, we can say V equal to R. What is the unit of resistance? We know R equal to V by R. But what is the unit of V? Unit of V is volt, unit of I is ampere. So unit of resistance is volt per ampere. Also it is said the unit of resistance is ohm. So 1 ohm is equal to 1 volt per ampere. Second term or very important term is conductance. Conductance is 1 by resistance. That is very much opposite to the resistance. That means the reciprocal of resistance is conductance. That means what can I say? If the resistance is more, conductance is less. If resistance is less, conductance is more. And this is the reciprocal of resistance, so the unit of the conductance is 1 by ohm, or we can say ohm inverse, or this is also called Simon. Now we will draw the graph of current versus voltage. If you increase the voltage, current will increase continuously. That's why the graph will come like this, straight line from the origin. Slope means del I by del V equal to 1 by resistance. We know that I by V equal to 1 by resistance, because V by I equal to R, so I by V equal to 1 by resistance, and 1 by resistance means conductance. So slope equal to, we got conductance. Limitation of Ohm's law. What problem we face in case of Ohm's law? Ohm's law is obeyed only when the temperature is constant. If the temperature is varying, Ohm's law does not obey any rules, does not obey the rules. Experiment verification of Ohm's law. There is an experiment done on the basis of Ohm's law. You just read, you don't have to remind it. Next, the term is coming here. That is one more part is important. Here we in the book some graph are discussed, like we have already learned IV graph. Here is VI graph is given. Graph will be similar. Slope of VI graph equal to R equal to V by I. Now is these all cases whatever graph you have seen, these are following the Ohm's law, as here temperature is remains constant. But if the temperature is not remains constant, like there is 2 conductor is taken, one conductor has a temperature T1, one conductor is temperature 2. If the current flowing through it, the graph will be like that. Here T1 is greater than T2. The temperature of the conductor A is greater than the temperature of the conductor B. ohmic and non-ohmic resistor, which are called ohmic resistor. The conductor which obey Ohm's law are called ohmic resistors. Like example, all metallic conductor like silver, aluminium, copper, iron. Nichrome copper sulfate solution with copper electrons and dilute sulfuric acid at a constant temperature. These are the ohmic resistors as they follow the Ohm's law. Non-ohmic resistor means which does not obey the Ohm's law is known as non-ohmic resistor. If there is a non-ohmic resistor, what type of graph that will come? Like here Vi graph of non-ohmic resistor is given. That will be like that. There is a difference between ohmic resistor and non-ohmic resistor is given. Ohmic resistor follow the Ohm's law, non-ohmic resistor does not follow the Ohm's law. The graph of potential difference V versus I is a straight line. It is not a straight line. The slope of Vi graph at any instant same at all values V or I at a given temperature, but slope is not constant, that is changing always. All metallic conductor like silver, iron follow the ohmic resistor law of Ohms, that's why they are known as ohmic resistor. Junction diode, LED, transistor, filament that does not follow the Ohm's law, that's why these are known as non-ohmic resistor. Superconductor, experimentally it is observed that the resistance of substance like tin, lead decreases tremendously with the decrease in temperature. If you decrease the temperature of some object, their resistance decrease. At a certain temperature, the resistance will be zero. At that condition, the conductor is known as superconductor. But the things is that in practical, that temperature is not obtainable. It is very difficult to obtain that temperature. If it is possible to obtain that temperature, that will be very helpful to us. You can see that the superconductor are not in common use since it is very difficult to achieve that low temperature. However, they can be very useful if it is possible. If it is possible, what may happen? The size of the computer could then be reduced to a few centimeters and power lines could then be made as thin as a single wire. Now, specific resistance or resistivity. What is resistivity? The resistance of a wire is directly proportional to the length. We already learned that. If we increase the length of the wire or length of anything, the resistance will increase. If you decrease the length, the resistance will decrease. Similarly, that is inversely proportional to the area of a conductor. That means if you increase the area, the resistance will decrease. If you decrease the area, the resistance will increase. Now if you combine that, R proportional to 1 by A, R proportional to L, that comes R proportional to L by A. Now if you bring a constant to make it equal, that is R equal to rho into L by A. This rho is known as resistivity. Here A equal to pi R square is written. So we got if L equal to 1, A equal to 1, then rho equal to R. So resistivity of a material is the resistance of a wire material of unit length and unit area. Resistivity of some substance at 20 degrees centigrade are given here. You can check it from the table. And what is the unit of the resistivity? We got rho equal to Ra by L. From that, unit of resistance is ohm, unit of area is meter square, unit of length is meter. So we got ohm meter. So unit of resistivity is ohm meter. What are the factors that affect the resistivity? What type of material is used? The temperature of the substance. These are the things which affect the resistivity of the material. What is conductivity? We already learned conductance. Conductance is the reciprocal of resistance. Similarly, conductivity is the reciprocal of resistivity. The reciprocal of resistivity is known as, it is represented by the symbol sigma. What is the SI unit of that? Ohm meter inverse. We know that SI unit of the conductance is ohm inverse, and SI unit of conductivity is ohm meter inverse. You have to remember the conductance and conductivity is different. Choice of material of a wire. The wire used for electrical connection and for power transmissions should have negligible resistance. Resistance should be very low. That's why we use copper or aluminium whose resistivity is very small. We can't use silver because that is very costly. The resistance of the wire are made from alloys such as manganese, constantan, etc., for which the resistivity is quite low and the effect of change in temperature on their resistance is nil. A fuse wire is made from an alloy of lead and tin because its melting point is low and its resistivity is more than the copper or aluminium, so that the resistance of a short and thin fuse wire is high. That means, what is the requirement of a fuse wire? The melting point should be low. That's why an alloy is used, lead and tin. The alloy of lead and tin is used. If the temperature is increased in certain moment, the fuse wire will melt it down and the connection will be disconnected. A tungsten wire is used for filament bar for getting because its resistance is high and melting point is also high. So the more temperature we can get the more temperature. Nichrome wire is for also getting higher temperature. Its melting point is also high. Okay, there is some question. I will send the question, you have to solve. Now we will learn what is EMF. Full form of EMF is electromotive force. EMF means actually the potential difference. Okay, let's start from the basic. Here the electric cell maintains a constant difference in potential difference the two conductor by a chemical reaction to obtain a continuous flow of charge between them. What does it say? Like it is an electric cell. Here is an electrolyte that is dilute, that means sulfuric acid is mixed with water. This is known as electrolyte. And there is an two electrode is there, one is zinc, one is copper. What happened in that case? There is a continuous flow of charge is there, as in case of electrolytes that breaks down into two ions, positive ion and negative ion. So positive ion will go on one side and negative ion will go on one side. Negative ions will release some electrons and positive ion will take some electron. As a result, what happens? There will be a difference in potential between these two electrodes, and when the terminal is not connected, this difference in potential is known as electromotive force. If that is connected, then if you get the voltage from the two terminal, that is terminal voltage. So you have to remember the terminal voltage and EMF is different. When there is no connection, but there is a potential difference because of flow of charge, that is known as EMF. If we connect them, that will be converted to terminal voltage. What are the factors on which EMF depend? What type of electrodes is there? That means material of the electrode, and what type of electrolyte is used here. It is independent on the shape of electrodes and distance between the electrodes and the amount of electrodes. The three factors on which the EMF does not depend is shape of electrodes, distance between the electrode and the amount of electrolyte. What is EMF? You can read from here. The EMF of a cell is defined as the energy spent per unit charge in taking a positive charge around a complete circuit of a cell. EMF equal to work done by whatever charge you are moving around a circuit. Now if you connect that to terminal, that will be the difference between the voltage in their two. This is known as terminal voltage. This will be equal to whatever work done is there for flowing the charges from one terminal to second terminal, that is known as voltage. That will be equal to W dash by Q0. This is the work done for shifting the unit charge around the circuit connected across the terminal. That means if you are moving the charge from that terminal, that is known as terminal voltage. But if you are moving the charges from this to this inside the circuit, that is known as EMF. What is the difference? When the charge is flowing around the circuit, there is a drop of voltage. So EMF is always more than the terminal voltage. Here is a voltage drop is measured, that is W by Q0. And by the law of conservation, we know that energy can't be wasted, that can't be created or that can be destroyed. So total work done, that means the work done in case of EMF generation, and W dash is work done in case of terminal voltage, and this W, small w, is the work done during the drop of voltage. From that equation we got EMF equal to terminal voltage plus voltage drop. And there is a difference you can read from the book between EMF and terminal voltage. It is measured by the amount of work done in moving a unit positive charge in the complete circuit inside or outside the cell. It is measured by the amount of work done in moving unit positive charge in the circuit outside the cell. It is the characteristics of the cell. It depends on the amount of current drawn from the cell. It is equal to the terminal voltage when cell is not in use. It is equal to the EMF of cell when cell is not in use, while less than the EMF when cell is in use. Okay, we will learn next day internal resistance. That is enough for today. Thank you.